Hello, my wonderful, amazing artists. It's me, Miss Abby, your art teacher. And today in art, we are getting inspired by magic and fairy tales and mythology to create a setting that's a place where a story takes place, like Star Wars takes place in outer space, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles take place in New York City. And we're going to create a fairy tale location. And we're going to do that. We're going to create a castle today. And for this project, we are going to draw. So we're going to use our favorite drawing tools. And if you want, you can also add some scissors if you want to cut out your castle. Today it also might be helpful to use either a ruler or something else that helps you draw really straight lines, because castles have a lot of straight lines in them. First off, I recommend starting with a pencil so you can erase. And I have a ruler. They're really useful, but if you don't have one, you can do something like use something around your house that you can put your pencil against and draw straight lines. Very handy. You can also, what's nice about the ruler is that it does have measurement tools if you like using those to help you draw and measure things. Those come in all different shapes and sizes, of course. And I'm going to draw a simple one that looks like it maybe is from Ireland or something like that. So I'm going to draw a ground line. Then I'm going to add the middle area where people come in and out. And I'm going to erase a lot for this project. The middle area, and then that's the top, so it's like a square or a rectangle. Then I'm going to add the towers. And everyone can make a castle differently. Think about your favorite castles in movies and books and Candyland and computer games. Castles are everywhere, and they're really fun to draw and think about. You also got to think about who lives inside of the castle. So is it a spooky haunted castle, or a very beautiful castle that people would want to be inside of? Is the castle Princess Bubblegum's, or a haunted castle full of ghosts? You gotta think about the story behind the castle and how it looks. See, we've got long, skinny rectangles and triangles for the towers. And you get to design your castle however you want. If you were to do Rapunzel's castle, for example, you'd probably need a really long tower to tell that story. Next, we're going to do the pieces that kind of have that square zigzaggy line. And the way I like to do it is I actually draw two lines, and I'm going to do a lot of erasing. Oops, pencil's broken. There, now we have two lines. Then you can draw the lines that connect. And then you can erase, right? That's how I like to do it, but you can do it however makes sense to you. Because for some people this works, some people find it extra confusing. There's my top of my castle. And my castle is made out of stones. So I'm going to add a stone texture using rectangles. But first, I got to add a window. I got to add some doors that are open. Right there. I'm not sure who lives inside yet, but maybe it'll come to me after I work on it some more. And I'm going to add 2 flags that I'll decorate later. I think I'm going to make a rainbow castle. And now I'm all ready to use my pencil to add the stone texture to make it look like it's made of stone. Here you can use your ruler or your straight edge to create some lines. And I am trying not to bump into the flags or the doorway. And I'm thinking about if I were to actually make this out of stone or Lego, how would it look? How would those stones fit together? If I were to build this out of building blocks, what would it look like? How would all those pieces come together? There you go. And of course I'm going to color this in later. I think I'm going to add some of those square tops to the towers too. And some windows. Okay, now my castle is all ready to color in. And I think I'm going to use a mix of markers and crayons, but you use whatever you have at your desk, right? Use what you got. All coloring tools are good. You can even do this with a pencil because a lot of castles are gray and made of stone, so you could color it in with a pencil if you wanted to make a gray stone castle. Let's get going. Okay, so now, what if you want to cut this out? Maybe you want to glue it onto an interesting background, like if you had a light blue piece of construction paper, or maybe you're looking at your old sketches and drawings and you made like a blue sky that you want to add it to. Let me show you how I like to cut out these castle shapes very carefully and really get it the way I want it to. First step is the 2-step bubble cut is to cut all the space around that's very easy to cut out. Let's do that first. Now for the square zigzag top, we're going to do something called the snip and bend. First we're going to snip just the vertical lines. Snip, 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 snip. Next, we're going to bend to make it easier to cut those bits off. And you're going to snip them off, the horizontal lines. Ta-da, here it is all cut out. Now, this is pretty cool, but what if you wanted to make doors and windows that open and closed? For that, you'll need some scissors, a little scrap paper. Like, I think I'm going to use the paper that fell off when I cut. And a glue stick. And this is how you make a door or window that opens and closes. Is you just fold it. And this is scrap, so it's okay if it's not perfect. Like I have this weird grass zigzag that I think I'm just going to turn into a beautiful oops. So I got that one. I'm doing double doors. So you can do something like that. And then just glue it on. You can even do the same thing with little tiny windows. So now that you have it cut out, you can just put a little bit of glue on the back. And remember,
too many big old blobs of butter and toast. You want loose stick is the surface area.
And then you're going to smooth it out, use your hands. And now I got to add color to the doors so they don't look plain white. Ta-da! Here's my castle. And I decided that a friendly wizard who makes everything magic and glittery and colorful lives inside. And the mood of this castle is so that's the character that lives inside. And the mood of this castle is very happy and welcoming to everybody. But your castle could have a completely different mood and a different person that lives inside. And that's going to affect how it looks. So you might have a castle that is really old and kind of falling apart and full of ghosts and creepy. Or it could be, made out of pink sprinkles and candy and has very light pastel colors like in the game Candyland. Or maybe it's gingerbread and has, frosting and a ginger bunny lives inside. Or it's made of ice. So you get to decide kind of the story behind your castle, because castles usually tell very interesting stories. And that's going to affect things like, and who lives inside, and the mood of the story. So that's going to affect all of your choices when you're making your castle. And the colors, for example, the colors and the shape. For example, Rapunzel's castle in the story has a really, really tall tower and no doors for anyone to get inside, right? So those are things to think about when you're creating your castle. Bye. Have fun making art.